So Monique, we actually met this time last year, and last year you were CRO. This year you are president. So what's different for you now, and then what's also different from the marketplace perspective?
Yeah, a lot can change in 1 year, right? So as president of Teads for North America, first of all, I expanded from U.S. to Canada as well. But the bigger change is really looking after the totality of the business, from supply as well as demand. So working closely not only with the advertiser and agency community, but also the publishing portion of what we do as well.
That's my background, so in the SSP space, and so I always think about media sellers first. Sorry to all of our buyers, but I always think about the needs of media sellers, because sometimes in our market that I think that there's a power imbalance. But I love that you have the full purview now. So oh yeah.
And what's changed in the year?
Yes, in the market.
Is again, a lot has changed over the year. I think that all of us have had to navigate so much change over the last 3-4 years now. This past year, a lot of talk around just what's happening from a macroeconomic environment. And so what we've really been focused on is working with the publishing community to help them better monetize the quality content and the important journalism that they do, while at the same time working with advertisers who are being charged with doing more with less, really charged with figuring out how to connect their media buys to business outcomes, and then working with our agency partners as well, who are also feeling the squeeze of everything and figuring out how we can work within their commercial models as well as to innovate alongside them. So those three pieces working in harmony is, I think, when the industry is in a good place.
Yeah, and I would imagine keeping everyone happy at all in all the different areas can be challenging, but that's
and tiring as well.
Yeah, yes, seems like you rise to the occasion. So we're going to talk about a couple of the things you brought up, but one of the first things is, there've been a lot of discussions at Cannes, but also in the broader industry, about signal loss across linear, across mobile, across CTV. Is that what's driving? Do you think that's what's driving the interest in sort of some of the new signals like attention and maybe the resurgent interest in context, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think we're all being tasked with navigating this new ecosystem with loss of signals, and it's really an opportunity to innovate and drive change in the industry, and to take a step back, zoom out a little bit, and try to look at what is not serving the business anymore, what's not serving our publishers, what's not serving our marketers, and what's not serving our consumers as well in terms of their experience with digital media. So signal loss is driving a lot of change, but it's also driving a lot of innovation in the process. For us, leaning in on attention has been a great path towards solving some of those things, and helping our publishers leverage attention metrics in a more meaningful way, helping our advertisers understand when you start with attention, you can drive towards business outcomes in a more effective way, and at the same time, hopefully cleaning up the ecosystem a little bit better for everyone.
Attention. So that's one of those things that I think has to keep all of the sides happy as well, right? How do you measure it? How do you quantify it? How are you seeing attention play out on your platform? Is it, what's the bare minimum? Is it just sort of looking at audience segments based on attention? Is it using attention as a post-campaign metric? Like, where does the rubber actually kind of meet the road?
I think the first step is acknowledging that attention is important. And that seems very basic, but it is something that maybe has been lost along the way with the complexity of technology. So acknowledging there is a problem is the first step towards change. And then from there, I think it's where we started. So we launched the Teads Attention Program at Cannes last year. And so since then, we've measured over 500 campaigns, and the focus has really been around measurement and setting benchmarks and understanding the drivers of attention. And now it's about moving past that and pushing more towards action and activation. And that's where the conversations are really at Cannes this year, which is really amazing to think that in 1 year's time, the conversation has moved so quickly to the space of action and activation. So I think we should be proud of ourselves as an industry for that.
I think you raise a good point, though, that we needed that there's a need to understand it, to understand that there may be a problem with people not paying attention to things, or that there's different kinds of quality of attention, because I do think our industry sometimes moves first and then thinks about the implications afterward. So the fact that you're like, hey, look, let's talk about this first. There's lots of developments, like with the IAB's Attention Task Force, and lots of different sides of the industry leaning in. But I do think that there's been some hesitation on the publisher end to kind of be measured based on attention. I think that they might feel like it's not our fault if someone's not paying attention to your ad, so should we be sort of penalized if they don't? How do you, now that you're working with the publisher side, how do you kind of address some of those concerns?
Yeah, so I think that from a publisher standpoint, attention starts best when it's rooted and surrounded by quality media. So if you're a publisher that is creating quality media and experiences for advertisers and consumers, attention will naturally be pulled toward that direction. So then it becomes about how do we work as an industry to support that and monetize that in a more, I think, effective way for them. We've done some great research in partnership with Condé Nast, for example, that shows that some of their biggest and best properties can drive as much attention as CTV on the big screen, on properties like Vogue. And the data also shows that news, for example, is a great environment to be in if you want to capture attention. And supporting news as an industry is, I think, an important initiative that we all believe in, and a foundational part of what advertising responsibly and sustainably building a business is built around. So I think the publishers shouldn't be afraid of it, but I think as an ad tech community, we need to figure out ways to support them more, to monetize it more effectively.
The point you just made about news being a great place for people, being a great advertising environment because people are paying attention, that highlights, that's an amazing data point, because I find that, or what I've heard is that there's been a big pullback in terms of sort of advertisers wanting to be in news, partly because, traumatizing content or challenging content, if you will. And so it's interesting that perhaps attention can be a metric to help news publishers kind of say, hey, yeah, there might be some sort of brand suitability or brand safety concerns, but actually people are paying attention. And if that's what you want, then you want to sort of be in this environment. You also brought up the fact that on Condé Nast, was it on the website?
Yes.
Sort of compelling the same amount of attention as the big screen on the TV. Like, if I was Condé Nast, I would shout that from the rooftops.
They are. We're talking about it a lot.
Which is a nice segue into context, I think. But more specifically in the realm of CTV, how easy or difficult is it to understand the context of a show in a CTV environment?
Yes, we have always believed in the power of context at Teads, and owning contextual alignment in the open web has been a cornerstone of what we do. So we talk about leveraging contextual signals to own the audience, to own the page, to own the moment. And we want to pull that thinking through to the biggest screen in the home. I think that there's ways we can do that right now today by just some basic targeting capabilities around network and time of day and genre, and connecting that to strategies that we're already implementing in the open web. And we're working towards building more advanced technologies in the CTV space to offer even, I think, more beautiful ways to align contextual and omnichannel contextual experiences for advertisers.
Do you want to drill down on that? When you say, because I know omnichannel can mean many things to sort of many people, what do you mean by an omnichannel experience kind of connected to contextual?
Right. So we help advertisers own moments. So, for example, if you are really interested in sports and you want to own March Madness and all of the articles and contextual moments that are happening across the open web, we want to be able to pull that through so that we can create a strategy from across all screens, tie into a contextual moment that an advertiser can own and make a big splash around. And those are opportunities to leverage context to be a part of the cultural conversation in a more meaningful way.
That's interesting. So context broader than just what is the content in this, but the context of the moment around this.
Yeah. Yes.
That's interesting.